Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today at Almost a Green Acre. My name is Krista and I'm sitting outside on a very humid day here in New Brunswick, Canada, and I just wanted to share a couple of things with you because a few of my viewers had a couple questions about how do I fertilize things around here. You know, things are growing really well, and anyway, I got to thinking about that because really, I mean, aside from, compost going on top of the ground and the plants going in the compost, which is literally full of all kinds of great big chunks of wood and whatnot, the only thing that I'm really feeding them is, rainwater is what I was thinking, but I haven't done it yet this year. That's because I was all out, and so this week when I was in town, I ended up picking up a few supplies. So I want to show you today a few things that I'm doing. So to start with, the zucchini plants, again, they're getting fed rainwater, and that's about it. I haven't put any kind of fertilizer on them, but however, having said that, there is one thing that I do. I discovered that a couple of the plants had powdery mildew on them, and over the course of probably, I don't know, within the past year anyway, I've been doing a fair amount of research on creating and making your own fertilizer as opposed to going to the store and literally spending, I mean, you could spend hundreds of dollars on commercially made fertilizers, which I'm sure many of you do. I certainly have done that in the past, and I wanted to get away from doing that. So I've been doing some research, and when it comes to powdery mildew, I've discovered that when it's really, really hot out and the sun is beating down on your plants, and I know that a lot of us are experiencing major heat waves throughout North America. So you can only do this when the sun is really beating down on the zucchini plants. And what you do, and this is the only example I have to show you, it's just a small little spray bottle. So I've gotten about a quarter of milk put in it, and this is just normal drinking water here for a different experiment, and hopefully I don't get this all over myself because I don't have a funnel here with me. And then the remainder of it just gets filled up with normal water, like so. And I give it a shake. And when it's super, super sunny, like I said, I go over to the plants and I spray this all over their leaves. So I guess the fertilizer is milk and water on their leaves during a hot, sunny day. It was super sunny. It's pretty hazy here today. You can't really tell, but I am going to give them a dose of this in a little bit, simply because I went and thinned out the zucchini plants yesterday so that I could actually get in there and harvest the zucchini. I couldn't even walk in there. So that I will be doing, and I will show you that in a separate video because by the time I get everything over there that I want to do, I'll just shut this video off and start a new one. The next thing that I want to show you is these 2 mason jars. Normally I don't have 2 mason jars, but and it looks like there's milk in those as well, but it's not milk, it's actually water and yeast. So basically I did have these, it was all in one mason jar, like so. And this is the one I'm going to be using, so this is fine for me to, and actually I see a little bit of yeast left in there, so I'm just going to swish it in the mason jar and get all the goodies out of it. So I'll set that off to the side. This one has already been prepared about 3 hours ago, and this one I've brought out to show you what it is that I do for fertilizer. So basically this is warm water, and what we do is normally it's best to let this blend that I'm going to be making for you sit 24 hours. So let it set overnight, and then use it. But you can use it, let it set for about 2 hours and then use it, which is exactly what we're going to do. So all you really need is some dry active yeast, and this here I picked up at Costco this week. It's called Red Star Active Dry Yeast, and yeah, non-GMO. It weighs 32 ounces or 2 pounds, and so I opened it up this morning because I only bought it this week. So I think I paid, like, I don't know, I'm gonna say $7.99, something like that. So we've got about this much water in there, and this here is uh-oh, I'm missing my sugar. I guess I'll have to do that here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take my tablespoon here that I have, and I'm going to go into the yeast. Thought for sure I brought my sugar out, but apparently I didn't. And we're just going to go in there, and we're going to get a level helping of yeast. So we're going to put this in the warm water, like so. And I'm going to seal this back up. And the yeast and the warm water and the sugar, which I actually forgot to bring outside to show you, the sugar and the yeast activate together, and it starts foaming up. You can see a little bit of foam in here, very little, but this will actually foam up. Now, when you let this set for overnight, you don't put you just set set it on there loosely. You don't tighten it or anything like that. And the reason I had to use 2 jars is I had too much water in here, and the actual foaming up was coming up over the top of the rim. So I had no choice but to put it in a second jar like that. So that's all you need. Basically sugar, yeast, and warm water, and you let that set overnight for 24 hours type of thing, or 2 or 3 hours if you really need to use it quickly. There are a few other added things that you can put in the mixture if you like, and this here happens to be Epsom salts, so I just keep it in an airtight jar here. And you need half a teaspoon of Epsom salt, so it's a different size. You can see the difference in the size. I mean, I'm not that precise. Yeah, so there's the Epsom salt going in there, like so. If I had these ground up, which I don't, these are, let me get a little bit closer to show you. Maybe I'll just leave them in there. So inside this coffee can is dried banana peels, and the whole idea was to dry them out. Everybody loves bananas usually, so you dry out the peelings and then you put them in your grinder and you put it into a powder. So that's another thing that you can actually add to this combination as well. This combination, I mean. And the other thing that you can add to the combination, and these are eggshells. Again, something that usually every household, has. So these are all eggshells that I've dried out, and I just haven't put them through the grinder to turn them into a powder form. So if I did have these things in a powder form, then I would put basically a tablespoon of the crushed eggshells. I'd probably put a tablespoon of the crushed banana peels, and the other thing that I would put in, and you can buy it commercially from the store. Excuse me. The other thing that I would put in would be wood ash, and you can actually make your own wood ash from your own burn pit. or whatever that you use for bonfires and whatnot. As long as it's a clean wood and that sort of thing, you can collect that wood ash and keep it in an old coffee can or something like that. And when you go to make this, then this is not going to activate for me because I don't have the sugar. So I will, and this isn't going to be available to me anyway until probably tomorrow now or the next time I go to use it. But it's the sugar that actually makes the yeast foam up. So I was, yeah, getting on about the wood ash. So you guys can collect it, after you've had a bonfire or something like that, and put it in a coffee can or something along those lines, and save it. So collect your wood ash before it rains, because after it rains, a lot of the goodies from the wood ash are gonna bleed out into the soil basically. So collect your wood ash, put it aside for when you fertilize. Don't do this fertilization procedure maybe about every 2 weeks. And basically, I just wrote down a few notes here. Yeah, so let me see. So yes, so the yeast will react with the sugar, and it will begin to ferment, and it produces like a foam on the top, which we're not going to be able to see here because I forgot to bring the sugar out. And then, of course, this here gets mixed with a 5-gallon bucket of water, which I did bring over. Oops. See if I can get it up here. Yep. Okay, it's not quite filled to the line, but basically there's a ridge here. This is a food grade bucket, and you want to fill it up right to here, the water. And then you take your mixture, which I've already done 3 hours ago with this one, and you pour it directly in here, like so. And there's a little bit on the bottom, so I'm just going to dip it in here and shake it around. Like that. You don't want it to be super cold water. The 5 gallons of water, you don't want it coming directly out of your well. It's better to, excuse me, like me, I have like water catchment, so it's sitting outside. It's outside temperature, so you want it to be room temperature or outside temperature, not directly out of your tap from the well. And so anyway, that's it. Grab a piece of, I don't have a stir stick, but this piece of wood will do. So you basically stir it around like so. And then you go over to your plants. Excuse me, guys. You go over to your plants, and typically you give them 1 cup each. Excuse me. So the reason that I made this up was because I mentioned that I had gone to town and that I picked up a few supplies. And what I was looking for this week when I was in town is I was looking to pick up some fertilizer that would help me with setting fruit on my tomato plants and my pepper plants. So even though they look really vibrant and they look awesome and everything, they're not setting fruit yet. So that's what yeast will do. It'll actually, this mixture will actually help you set fruit. And I know a lot of you guys are having problems with that. And being that we're, already into the first week of August, it's pretty important that we get our fruit on, and so that we can, harvest it for, to put in our pantries, and to stock up our shelves and to put in our pantries and to make all the things that we want to make. Whether that's like I want to make zesty zucchini relish, and I want to make some hot pepper sauce, and I want to make salsa, and I want to do a bunch of dehydrating of all these things and turning it into a powder so that I could use it at a later date. So it's important for me to get my fruit set, and so if I can speed it along by doing this, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you guys do your own research, right? Don't just take my word for it. There's all kinds of literature on the internet about yeast and the benefits to your garden, and all the beneficial aspects of doing that. Not to mention on YouTube, there's all kinds of there's all kinds of videos about it. I just, as I mentioned, I jotted down a couple of things to talk about. And so let me see here. So of course, yeast contains, so it's a fungus, number one. Yeast is a fungus. Let's see if that's kind of in the way. And it contains minerals, proteins, or organic matter, and it will help the setting of your fruit. And it helps it helps boost basically the plant's production. And the other thing about using yeast too is during times of you know, stress, in your garden. So during drought, times of drought, during, we're getting too much rain or too much drought, that sort of thing, or your plants are experiencing an onslaught of insects. That's another benefit that the yeast will actually do. It'll actually help you combat insects as well. And I was all out and I completely forgot about it. So when I was in town today and the store happened to be out of the fertilizer that I was particularly looking for, then it dawned on me, oh yeah, right, I got to go to Costco anyway, so I'm going in and I'm going to buy some yeast. So anyway, for $7.99 and some sugar, and you don't need to use Epsom salt, you don't need to use the eggshells, you don't need to use, all you need is sugar, yeast, and warm water to and in a jar of some sort. Doesn't even need to be a mason jar. Let it set overnight, kind of thing. Put it in a 5-gallon bucket, mix it up, and away you go. So let me just see. So what I wrote down, and this was just Googling it, right? Some information that I found. Yeast prevents pathogen bacteria from infecting your crops. It's not just a fertilizer, but it helps prevent disease. It helps promote longevity of your crop once it's picked. So once you've picked the fruit, I guess the yeast will help preserve it longer. It helps your plants in stressful situations, even too much rain. It helps decompose ammonia, phosphorus, and potassium, and makes it available to the plant in the soil. So that's one of the reasons, by adding the ground up eggshells and by adding the potassium from the banana, dried up banana leaves, and you grind it up and you add it to your mixture, you're actually putting that in your soil, and the yeast makes it more available to your plant, right, to uptake it, and it's in the soil. So in my case, in the raised garden beds where the majority of my peppers are, the root system is going down into those raised beds, and it's hitting, it's like a raised, agricultural raised bed, because inside that raised bed I have a whole bunch of layers of decomposing wood and mulch and all kinds of, grass and leaves and all kinds of things like that. So whatever the plant doesn't absorb is going to drip down into that wood, and it's going to be available for the root system, and hopefully the root system is down that far that it will be able to uptake it from all those things that are decomposing. So let me just see. Wood ash, I talked about that. Epsom salts, I put that in. And that's about it. Probably today, I did mention that I suggested using 1 cup per plant, because all of those peppers are all in the same bed and the plants are very close to one another. I'm probably just going to give it maybe half a cup. Now on these tomato plants around here, they probably will get a cup each. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. I'm going to end this video. I want to thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this clicker works. I basically threw it on my table, I don't know, a month or so ago, because it just wasn't working very well, and I forgot that I had it. So I don't know, I'm going to try it again today. You're supposed to be able to push the button and the video ends, and you don't have to walk over to it and shut it off. So thank you very much for joining me at Almost a Green Acre, and I hope that you find this information helpful, and like and subscribe to the channel, and please join me for the next video where you can actually see me actually putting this mixture, and I will by that point have the sugar so that you can actually see it foaming up. So sorry about forgetting the sugar inside. So anyway, yeah, so see you shortly, and again, thank you for coming and visiting my channel today. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.